No, kind of explain what the reach of Sports Channel America was for Bay Area, the different areas that they were broadcast in because of that affiliate.
It was the western states, western part of California, Southern California, Washington, Texas. Was it parts of Texas?
Mm-hmm.
It had the local appeal, which was Newark. It only aired in Newark locally, but then when Sports Channel came in, they were able to broadcast to half a dozen western states.
It was really like this odd thing where like the territories were over, but there was still like this one remnants on television, this like territory that covered the whole West Coast. And so it was almost like, I feel like later on, like the NWA nowadays, when they made their YouTube studio show, that was the kind of thing they were trying to replicate, the small studio, interviews, wrestling. And this was like the last moment of that before when that went away, then finally they all went away. But I feel like Bay Area Wrestling was really like this last grasp of that moment.
Yeah. What I found very interesting is the fact that a lot of these guys, like Jason Rogers, aka Jason Styles, Super Diablo, this was all their first match ever, like their first time working ever, and it's on television. So so there was a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of nervousness when people were doing interviews and promos. So I always thought that was amazing. Like, you're just starting in the business, and then boom, now you're on television. Maybe only a couple of months into your training, which I think is insane.
Yeah, and that's kind of what drew me down there. Was like I said in the documentary, that my dad was dating his now wife, who for some reason just ended up in Palo Alto. So he said that he saw this wrestling show on the Super Channel or Sports Channel America out of Newark, Hayward. And so I thought, like, well, I have nothing going on this summer, so I'd had one trip to Japan, so I was able to get enough points to get a ticket to fly down to San Francisco. And that was kind of the idea why I went to see, like, if I could be on Sports Channel America, maybe WWF will see me, or who knows what could happen, but at least it's television, and that's more than what I have right now, which is basically doing nothing. So it was a real beacon to go down and be a part of that company and that show. And that studio was very small, wasn't it, Shane?
Yeah, after we got the ring in there, probably about 75 people, we'd be able to squeeze it in there. And
right.
I mean, it was just a hassle just getting the ring in and out of the place. Yeah, but it was tight corners.
Chris, I know you're really savvy with the television production in the world of wrestling. And the one thing that I noticed that I didn't think of at the time, but in watching the trailer for the documentary and then in watching the hour-long finished piece that got released about a month ago or a week ago, was that the hard cam was up in a corner of the studio. I have never, ever seen that before. In any studio wrestling. And we had the handheld, and that worked very well. But the hard cam stuck up in a corner? Are you kidding me?
There wasn't a lot of room for it anywhere else, though.
Exactly. Yes.
You need a pretty wide-angle lens if you wanted to have it on level with the ring.
Yeah, I remember walking out of the curtain, and there's one row of people and the ring. So like Shane said, you have to wedge yourself kind of around to kind of get around the people. And then I remember when I stood on the top rope, either I could touch the roof or I put my head through the roof at some point, jumping off because it was that low.
And at the commentators table, there was no monitor. There was a small television there, so it looked good on TV, but it was never on. It was always dark. And the other thing was, Chris, is that I and Alan Bolte, who did a great piece on you in Wrestling World Magazine back then, who would come in and do color commentary every now and then, and Alan and I are good friends. We had no headphones. So we actually had to, cup our ears so we could hear what we were saying over the ring noise and the ambient noise from the fans. It wasn't the best, but we made it do for 3 years and had fun with it.
So who would do like the editing of the shows? Because I know I say we because I was there. You taped every 2 weeks. And my time there, I was at 2 separate tapings, which we can discuss later. So would you do the 2 weeks of tapings, then instantly have to edit and produce the show to be released the next night? Or how much of a turnaround was there? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, the production team was part of the TV studio. So the producer was Curtis Denisar, who ended up being my teacher in broadcasting. And then their employees would edit it together. I forgot the name of the production company that they went by. Shooting wise, though, how many times a week did you guys shoot?
We shot the first and third Friday of every month.
Right.
And we would do, how many shows that? We would do 4 shows.
4 shows out of there, yeah.
We would do 4 shows that night. We were always about 4 weeks